Let's say you've watched Stranger Things, but you don't know anything about the actors, the fandom, the popular ships, the memes. That's what I'm hoping to bring to the table in this video. A look at Stranger Things outside of the show. That is in fact what I wanted to do with my last video, the Dance Moms video, but did I end up just basically recapping the show? Yes. To be fair though, it's hard to recap Dance Moms without recapping the show because the drama in the show directly affects what happens outside of the show. Speaking of, do any of y'all watch Drew Gooden? I saw his most recent video pop up on my YouTube homepage. I didn't actually watch the video, but I did look at the title, the thumbnail, and the comments. Amanda, how would you look at the comments without watching the video? I clicked on it, clicked pause, and then I looked at the comments, you nosy bitch. From what I could gather from all of those things, the gist of the video was that people seem to be dragging out YouTube videos for longer than they need to be to reach, you know, some sort of quota, or I don't even know what quota that would be. Perhaps it's like a quantity over quality issue, and you know what? That's probably a fair take. I definitely feel guilty of doing that sometimes, although longer videos are what the people want, and by people I mean my people, and by my people I mean you, my pookies. Although sometimes I have the opposite problem and I don't make a video unnecessarily long even though I say I'm going to.
Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty.
It's the worst of both worlds. So at this point I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just try and stick to the longer videos, but am I going to fill it with high quality content? No. I'm gonna take away my filter a bit. I'm gonna let myself go on whatever tangents I want to. Really just yap and let my brain dump out its stream of consciousness. And if that's not what you're into, that's too damn bad. I feel like ramblings are more entertaining than recaps, if I may, you know, be so bold. I do have that thought sometimes when I'm doing recaps. I've done quite a few of them on this channel. I would think to myself, wow, people would rather watch a several-hour YouTube video recapping a show instead of the actual show. I suppose you are saving some time by doing that, and time is money, babe. Wouldn't it be great if you could spend time doing the things you love and make money while doing it? It's funny that you say that, past Amanda, because I know a way to do just that. You may be wondering, am I trying to give you some free money in this economy? Yes, that's exactly right. Free Cash, who is actually the sponsor of today's video, is a website with 4.7 stars on Trustpilot where you can earn money by doing simple tasks like playing games, downloading apps, and taking surveys. After signing up and enabling app tracking, which is an important step since Free Cash rewards you according to your progress, Free Cash will present you with offers that give you the opportunity to earn hundreds of dollars. If you're like me and like to play games in your spare time, why not gain some cash doing something you're already doing for free? That's why I chose one of my favorite games, Township. After spending time playing the game and completing tasks such as increasing my game level, I've already earned over $25, which I withdrew using PayPal. The first withdrawal amount is $20, but after that there is no minimum. There are a variety of platforms to choose from when withdrawing, such as Visa, Amazon, and bank transfers. You can also make in-app purchases to speed up your progress and receive cashback and bonus rewards. Use my link below or scan my QR code to get a $5 bonus on your first offer that you start with Free Cash. Depending on your country, your interface may look slightly different, but the functionality is the same. Thank you so much again to Free Cash for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. While we're on the topic of exploiting recaps to make videos longer, let's move right into a recap of the entirety of Stranger Things. Nah, I'm just joshing you, bro, but I do think I need to give a very brief recap, and by brief I mean unnecessarily long, just in case there are a few stragglers out there who have no idea what the show's about. Although I will say, this video is intended for people who've already seen the show, so watch at your own risk. Hey gang, so there's gonna be a flash of light that shines on my face for a portion of this video. I have no idea how that went unnoticed by me while filming. It's quite miraculous actually, so sorry if that's distracting. Essentially, it's a Netflix original show set in the 80s. That's, you know, a big part of the show. And you have a group of boys that stumble across a bald girl with telekinetic abilities. One of the boys gets possessed by the villain, who turns out to be an acquaintance of the telekinetic bald girl, because they were a part of this batch of kids who were undergoing an experiment of sorts to gain supernatural abilities. The acquaintance of the bald girl gets banished to this parallel dimension called the Upside Down, and the show is basically the bald girl and the acquaintance beefing. She's trying to keep him in the Upside Down, and he wants to get back to our dimension. There are monsters, Russians, Christmas lights, and Eggos all along the way. Season 5 is coming out at some point in 2025, and that should be the last season of the show. I believe that's what they've claimed. I am a big fan of shows that end in a timely manner. I don't know if 5 seasons was always the plan for Stranger Things. I'm aware that things got delayed due to COVID and the writer's strike, and that's why it took so long to get to the 5th season. I don't know what the timeline would have looked like had those things not happened, but I love when shows have a plan of what they want to do, they execute it brilliantly, and then they just dip. They don't drag it out for the sake of making more money. An example of that in my mind would be Gravity Falls. Falls. Now, I'm not sure if 2 seasons was always the plan. I don't know if it was cut short for whatever reason, like it was an executive decision and not, a creative decision. There was a message in the last episode of the 2nd season or somewhere near there that was like, oh, see you next summer. So potentially that was, an open door into a 3rd season. But obviously that didn't happen. And I think the show finished really nicely, like everything was wrapped up. Now, I mentioned a season 3. I feel like there were murmurings of a season 3 very recently with the Book of Bill coming out. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I was actually a hater, one of the secret few that did not want a season 3 to happen. Consider me the imposter among us. I get very scared of, revisiting a series and starting something new again and it being bad. I don't want that to taint whatever already happened in the past. And in terms of dragging it out, it's not an ideal thing to do with Stranger Things specifically because the kids are aging fast. Obviously, that's one of the major issues with casting kids. They grow up so fast, as they say. Have you heard the difference in Walker Scobell's voice in the Percy Jackson trailers? Speaking of, I saw that Talia got cast in the Percy Jackson series recently. I saw that Toph got cast in the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender. They had an open casting call for Toph, and if you don't know what that means, it means that, literally anybody can audition if they want to. You don't have to be, repped by an agency. You don't have to have the connections. You don't have to have the resume necessarily. However, did they end up going with a very established Asian actress? Yes. I would have thought they would have gone the route of, casting an Asian actress who's actually blind or visually impaired. They did not do that, but I thought it would have been interesting to see a new face because I'm so sick and fucking tired of seeing the same actors over and over again on my screen. Why the fuck is John B in the Uglies movies? Get him out of there. Actually, I don't know. I've never actually even seen the Uglies movie, never read the books. He could have been an amazing choice. I don't know. All around me are familiar faces and I want to fucking kill myself because of it. So Stranger Things became a massive hit pretty much from the 1st season. And that was a little bit unexpected, I think. The show was created by the Duffer Brothers. I believe they're twins. If not, my bad. Trust me, I'm very familiar with twin allegations. When I've posted my sister, almost everybody that makes a comment about her says that she's my twin. She's not. She is, in fact, 3 years younger than me. Don't know what that says about. I don't know. Maybe I look young or she looks old. I'm gonna pretend she looks old because that's hilarious. I want to talk about ships first. I love talking about ships. Shipping is a big part of every fandom. I don't know if this is technically correct, but when I think of the word ship, I think of it as inherently romantic. Obviously, there's a ship in friendship, but for me personally, whenever I am referring to a ship, I'm talking about characters that are hypothetically romantically involved. Canon ships are characters that are actually romantically involved in whatever media they're in. Non-canon is when fans take characters, regardless of how much interaction they've had together, how much screen time they've shared, and slap them together. I've actually already done a video where I rank Stranger Things ships and I share my thoughts on them. However, I have literally no recollection of whatever I said back in the day. So I'm going to go over the most popular ships, both canon and not canon, and share my updated thoughts. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to introduce a lot of cast and characters, lock in team. Actually, this shouldn't be new information to you. This should be review. You know when teachers say that and then they show you something that you've never fucking seen in your life? So out of the kids, we have Mike, Will, Lucas, Dustin, Eleven, and Max. Everyone here, before starting the show, they weren't big name actors by any means, but they all had at least a little something something on their resume. Finn Wolfhard plays Mike. He was in an episode of The 100. He was also in an episode of Supernatural, so that's a little fun fact for you there. Maybe you didn't recognize him at the time, but I'm sure you will now. I have no idea where I heard or saw this information. It's coming from the deep recesses of my memory, but I believe Finn said that he initially got an audition for the show through a website called Actors Access, and when I first heard this, it blew my little mind, because Actors Access is a platform that's available to the general public. Like, you don't need an agent to be on Actors Access, to my knowledge, and at the time I was in my acting era, so I was like, oh my god, I missed out on my opportunity to be famous on Stranger Things. But I do not think I would have made it through the door, considering I did not have the credentials that the rest of the cast had. Do y'all ever experience retrospective jealousy for things that don't involve you whatsoever? I do all the time. If I hear someone I know or someone my age doing something really cool, I think to myself, why did nobody tell me about this? Nobody thought to inform me of this brilliant opportunity. You're saying if I posted a TikTok in the very early days and shook some ass, then I wouldn't have had to go to college? I could have made my younger sister do it and had the same sort of outcome. I also felt this way. Now, this might be getting a little obscure, but during Tommy and Its Lover hosts, and I saw all the contestants, and I thought to myself, wow, I would wipe the floor with these bitches. Granted, this was a Twitch live streamed show, and have I ever live streamed once in my goddamn life? No, but of course I feel qualified to do so with no practice or experience whatsoever. I don't mind failing. It's the fact that I never had the opportunity to try that gets me. It's like not entering a lottery and then someone else ends up winning. You're like, ah, damn, because a 0.00001% chance is better than zero. Noah Schnapp plays Will. He had some experience in film. He was the voice of Charlie Brown in a couple of Charlie Brown movies. He was also in a movie directed by Steven Spielberg that starred Tom Hanks, so that's pretty cool. He was also in Panic at the Disco's LA Devotee music video. Caleb and Gayton play Lucas and Dustin respectively, and the kicker is they actually knew each other or knew of each other before starting the show because they were on Broadway at the same time. Caleb was in The Lion King and Gayton was in Les Mis. For some reason, whenever I talk about Lucas and Dustin and Caleb and Gayton, I get their actual name confused with their character's name. So if I mix that up going forward, apologies. The telepathic bald girl they come across, aka 11, aka Millie Bobby Brown. Millie actually full scented and shaved her entire head for this role, which is pretty badass. I love Millie so much, I really do. I just think she slays in every way imaginable. And so I'm going to speak very highly of her throughout this video. Millie had quite a few appearances on episodes of popular TV shows such as NCIS, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, Grey's Anatomy, Modern Family. Sadie Sink joined the cast in season 2, and here's another kicker. She actually knew Gayton and Caleb before coming onto the show because she was another Broadway baby, not Abby Lee Miller's dog. She was in the musical Annie playing Annie. These characters go from middle school to high school over the course of 5 seasons. The canon ships among these members are Mike and 11. I'd say it's the biggest ship out of the bunch, ship name Malevin. Their relationship has been pretty steady throughout the show in the sense that I feel like from the moment they saw each other, they had a little spark, and that spark continues throughout. It's been steady, consistent. The other big one is Lucas and Max, Lumax. They are more on again, off again, but I also feel like they keep coming back to each other. They have that connection. Will, I believe he was confirmed to be gay. I believe that. It was a theory for a bit of time, so I don't know. I believe it's confirmed that Will is gay. I don't believe it's confirmed that Will is pining for Mike Wheeler. However, I'm going to choose to believe that's true. You can't tell me he wasn't having a proper full-on gay crisis in the car. Dustin started dating this girl named Susie that he met at camp. What their ship name? Doozy? Oh my god, it's actually Doozy. That's hilarious. Anyways, she's Mormon. Shout out Mom Talk. If any of y'all have been watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, one of my friends introduced it to me. It is a shit show. I don't know what's going on in Utah. Why are all the Mormons in Utah? Is that causation, correlation? What is going on out there? It was really interesting to see that perspective considering I grew up in a household that was not religious whatsoever. Anyway, Doozy is super cute. They're both nerdy. They both slay the day. They end up singing a song together at the end of season 3, which is pretty iconic among the fandom. It goes, never-ending story, ah, 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 ba, ba, ba. But a fantasy, make believe I'm everywhere. Ba-da-da-da-da. But I would say that there are certain non-canon ships that are most popular among the fandom, at least according to AO3. A ship that dominates the fandom is Mike and Will, aka Byler. I really appreciate Byler. I do. What can I say? I also like Lumax. Malevin is fine. We know that the Wheeler kids have difficulty expressing their emotions, which has proved to be, somewhat of an issue in their romantic relationships, as we've seen. But when it comes to Mike and Will, I feel like they've been friends for so long. They have this bond, they have this understanding, and I really am a sucker for friends to lovers, especially when it involves gay pining. Now, when I say that, I don't want to, romanticize it, I guess, because, when being gay was very taboo during this time in the 80s. You know, that's a very scary thing. It was a very difficult thing to experience. And I think Stranger Things does explore that a little bit for sure. I don't know if we're going to get more than we've already gotten. I don't know if that's going to be a theme that is touched upon in the 5th season. I don't know what we'll have going on in the 5th season. I'm going to be so real. I maybe need to rewatch the show again. I've rewatched seasons 1 through 3 quite a lot, but season 4, can I say something controversial? I think season 4 was probably my least favorite season. Season 1 was super classic, and it was just really great. Season 2, I enjoyed season 2. I loved season 3. I don't even care. It was so colorful. The vibes were immaculate. The summer of 20 whatever, when that came out, it was so good. It really was. Another ship I've seen is Eleven and Max, aka L-Max. For me personally, I don't really see those two characters in a romantic light. I love their friendship, don't get me wrong. Then we get to the group of high schoolers who, you know, grow up to be college students as the show progresses. These ships, particularly the non-canon ones among this group, very much have a chokehold on the fandom. Perhaps, you know, I don't know what the primary age demographic is of the Stranger Things fandom. I think it is quite a range, but I will say, like, seasons 1 and 2, Maleven, I saw so many Maleven things. I think Maleven really was the top contender in terms of ships. And then potentially, as, you know, we grew up, the viewers who were watching it, we went from middle school to high school to college, like the characters do in the show. I think the focus switched more towards Byler among the kids, and then more in general towards the high school aged bunch, college aged bunch of the groups, particularly anything involving Steve Harrington, which we'll get to in a second. So in terms of characters, we have Jonathan, who is Will's older brother, played by Charlie Heaton. Then we have Mike's older sister, Nancy, played by Natalia Dyer. Natalia, she had a couple movie roles before this, but the most notable one would be her role in the Hannah Montana movie. Then we have my man, Steve Harrington, played by Joe Keery. Speaking of Joe, actually, Joe Mama, apparently a lot of the characters on the show evolved, you know, to be more in tune with the actors that are portraying them. For example, Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin, has cleidocranial dysplasia, which is a rare genetic condition that affects the development of, you know, bones, teeth, and he actually doesn't have collarbones as a result of this, and that was put into the show. Also, Steve apparently was supposed to be more of an asshole and die in season 1, but they just thought Joe and his portrayal of Steve was too lovable to kill him off, which, thank God. Do you know how much more boring the show would be without Steve? That was quite the pivotal decision to make, and I think it really helped the show out for the better. Dager Montgomery joined the show in season 2. He plays Billy, who is Max's older stepbrother. Actually, you know who had a small little moment in Stranger Things? Madeline Klein. The more you know. Get your head out of the gutter, John B. I love Rafe Cameron so much. I just was sent an edit from my friend Sam, you know and love her. I'm excited for the next season of Outer Banks solely to see my boy Rafe Cameron in action. Again, when I say Rafe Cameron, I really mean Drew Starkey. Sorry, moving on. And then we've got Maya Hawke, who joined the cast in season 3 as Robin. She is actually a Nepo baby, daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. And finally, in season 4, we have Eddie Munson, played by Joseph Quinn. This character, we will get to it later, but just so you know, he really just dominated the fandom when season 4 came out. Everything was about Eddie Munson. So the canon ships among this group are Steve and Nancy. They were a thing in season 1. I personally thought it was cute. A lot of people don't seem to like this ship, but I'm a sucker for the bad playboy turned good by the good innocent girl. It's gonna get me every time, and I know, like, realistically there are some problems with it, but I just what can I say? You know, with them two specifically, the major problem is that Nancy doesn't love Steve the way that he loves her, and in fact she has eyes for Jonathan, aka Jancy. I feel like Nancy and Jonathan are endgame. Is that crazy to say? The endgame people that I see together are Nancy and Jonathan and Mike and Eleven. and potentially another one that we'll talk about in a second. Although Steve does continue to have eyes for Nancy throughout the show, I think. Robin likes women, and I think they actually introduced her love interest at the end of season 4, Vicky, played by Amy Beth McNulty, who is known for her role in Anne with an E. So now we get to the non-canon ones. First up, we have Robin and Nancy. Again, I don't see it with these particular characters, but I do very much see the vibe you're going for. I get it. I get the dynamic. I think it's great. However, again, with these particular characters, I can't say that I ship it. I swear I'm not against lesbians currently. Would like to be. Next, we have Steve and Billy, aka Harrigrove. Now, this one is controversial, but nonetheless extremely popular. The reason that's controversial is that Billy is an abusive piece of shit. Granted, it's complicated. He's a very tragic character because it's continuing the cycle of abuse from his father. His father was also a piece of shit. And, you know, Billy and Steve canonically did not like each other in the show. But, you know, that opens the door for enemies to lovers. Also, call me delusional, but I feel like there was some tension in the scenes between Billy and Steve. I feel like not necessarily chemistry, but tension, I would say. Not saying that I ship it, though. I don't think I ship it, but I'm not saying it's coming from completely out of left field. I see where it's coming from. This ship was then outshined by one that came in season 4, Steve and Eddie, aka Steady. My God, this ship became popular, although weirdly enough, I'd say that Billy and Steve had more chemistry than Eddie and Steve did. I don't know if that's crazy. Maybe it's because I haven't rewatched season 4 in a minute, and maybe I need to go do that in order to see the scenes that people are freaking out about. But I love the idea of the dynamic. We've got Steve, who's, you know, the popular, you know, guy, king of the school, with someone who's like a nerdy rebel outcast. Slap them together. It's brilliant. There were so many edits of them, so many fanfics. Should we read a little fanfic to get a taste? I think that we should, because, you know, if you're joining this fandom through watching this video, then you're gonna need, you know, a glimpse at a primary source. This is an excerpt from one of the most popular Steady fanfics on AO3 called Not So Bad by Out of My Gourd. Geez, you really do think I'm attractive. Eddie's words dragged Steve back to the moment, and he realized he had been staring at Eddie for a considerable time now, a smirk on his face and cigarette discarded in a nearby ashtray on the porch railing. Heat flooded Steve's face for the second time that night as he snapped his eyes away, a scowl crossing his face in an attempt to hide his embarrassment. "Shut up, I was just lost in thought," he muttered as he took a long drink. He'd drunk enough now for his head to feel fuzzy and body warm, but not enough to numb his self-consciousness entirely. "Yeah, lost in thoughts about how hot I am," Eddie teased, a satisfied grin crossing his face as Steve shot him a look. "God, you're insufferable." Steve sighed out smoke. "Oh, come on, you secretly love it." Eddie bumped his shoulder against Steve, then looked into Steve's nearly empty cup, then his own. "Here, finish mine. I should start sobering up to drive." Steve threw back the rest of his drink before stacking Eddie's cup in his and taking a sip. "Trying to get me drunk, Munson?" Steve arched a brow at the accused, who was watching him with an odd smile. "Think you're doing a good enough job of that yourself, Harrington," Eddie retorted smoothly, and the silence that followed lingered just a bit thicker than usual as they regarded each other, Steve finding himself momentarily distracted by the look in the other's eyes. A feeling Steve couldn't pinpoint flooded him, as if he were suddenly a million times drunker, and then confusion. For a second, he even considered his drink being spiked, but he'd poured his own drinks and knew Eddie wouldn't do that. Plus, he was watching Eddie mix the drink he was now drinking. He cleared his throat and shook his head again, breaking the abnormally long eye contact they had been holding and putting the rest of the cigarette out in the ashtray. Wow, what a journey. The tension, crazy. Okay, now we've got the adults, and obviously there are a lot more adults than the 2 I have listed, but I'd say this is the most popular ship out of the adults by far, which is Joyce and Hopper. Jopper, played by Winona Ryder and David Harbour. David Harbour, he had been on the Hollywood scene for a while, I'd say, but Stranger Things was definitely his most notable role. And then we've got Winona Ryder, who I'm sure you're aware of. You've probably seen one of her movies at some point in time. She's been in everything from Beetlejuice to Edward Scissorhands to Heathers. Jopper recently became canon in the last seasons, which was super exciting. I would hope that their endgame, although I do sense something tragic happening to someone that would cause them to not be together in the end. I truly wonder how this show is going to end. I really do. Is everybody going to die? What are the vibes? So now I want to move on to a really important segment of the Stranger Things fandom, which are compilation videos, because now it's kind of been overtaken by TikTok. But if you were there during season 1 and season 2 when TikTok wasn't really a thing, and you would be watching stuff on YouTube and Instagram, the compilation videos reigned. I used to consume those videos like crack. Not that you consume crack. Do you consume crack? I watched every interview of the cast, the behind the scenes, the bloopers, the red carpet questions. I was knee deep. I would take whatever I could get. Was that because I had a little mini crush on Finn Wolfhard at the time? Absolutely, yes. That phase has since passed. I'm honestly surprised it even happened because Finn and Mike are low-key the opposite of my types. But, sometimes things just hit you like that out of the blue. When you have a crush on, when you have a dream about someone and then you wake up the next morning with like a slight mini crush on them? That did not happen with Finn. However, there was this one time where I had a dream. I woke up the next morning, completely forgot about it. I was in Spanish class in middle school. And this guy walked through the door, and when I looked at him, I was like, oh my God, he died in my dream last night. I mourned him. I grieved for the loss of his life. It was crazy how, looking at him the next day sparked all those memories. It was the floodgates opened. It was like touching the death note. But no, he was alive and well in my Spanish class, so I did, pay a little bit more attention to him after that. But what I think would be really beneficial for you is to watch a compilation video of my own that I crafted for the sake of this video. I tried to input as many videos as I could remember that both had a personal impact on me as well as a broader impact on the fandom. A lot of these videos have been watched by everyone in the fandom, so people make references to them, people quote it. So if you see those things and you haven't watched the videos, then you won't know what they're talking about, but now you will, hopefully. I have probably left a few gems out by mistake, so that's a shame. But if you can recall any of those clips, and if you were a part of the Stranger Things fandom, then please, let me know in the comments. Let me know which pesky ones I forgot. Anyway, roll the clips.
Can you read?
This is really cool. Oh, can I read?
Yeah, can you?
Can you host?
Is Joe Keery better? No.
No, that's the answer to that one.
Is Joe Keery
Hi.
Oh God, guys, is this what you're searching?
I think so. Yeah, you're fired.
Thank you.
I see Emma Stone and Meryl Streep going.
Millie, it was your first kiss, is that right?
Yep.
It was.
No, it was great. I'm not saying. I'm just
No, of course it was
No,
great.
it was fun. Yeah.
Okay, who's going second?
I'll go second.
Okay, all right.
I'll go
Wait,
second.
go.
Ready?
Okay, wait, really. Wait, start over.
Sorry.
Okay, here you go.
Hello, everyone.
I'm gonna put my nail.
Wait, is it just us? Can we move this down?
This is childproof. Haha.
That was my name is Jeff. That was my joke. Okay.
That's our one problem.
Hold on, let me talk, Millie. Millie, let me talk. Millie, let me talk.
No, hold on.
1 second.
Now I'm gonna start talking.
Hey, shut up, Noah.
I don't know if that is Joe Keery
legit.
too legit to quit.
I think actually the most searched. Oh my God.
My go-to move?
Oh. Pull up in that monster automobile gangster with a bad bitch that came from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I know you're my friend, so.
All right.
We are at the White House!
It's an arm sock. It's a glove,
Where does this go?
Then where does this go?
Dancing.
Octopus.
Wacky, wavy, inflatable arm flailing too.
Yeah.
Even when I lose, I'm winning.
'Cause I give you all of me. Can you hand me the pink ice cream?
Well, I'm using it at the moment.
You know what, Millie?
The thing is the reaction to it was really funny. Yeah. I got up and then I said, kissing sucks! And then Finn was like, that wasn't too bad.
I was like, okay.
I was like,
Sorry.
just shush, Finn.
11 was his first crush.
Aw, so cute. And will always be. Yes, well, my good best friend.
Sean, we already celebrated Stranger Things, but this award from you, who take your craft seriously and earnestly believe.
Okay, I'll take this one. Fan the boy. Yes, I'm pregnant. Is that even possible?
No.
Oh, it's lopsided.
Lopsided.
Yeah. I'm good.
Ooh, you may say I'm a dreamer.
Push pop. I'm taking this home with me. Is that okay? Absolutely. Amazing.
Whoops, I swallowed it.
Ratatouille. Oh, I want to watch that. I'm definitely watching Ratatouille. It's a good movie. No. Are you kidding me? So what does this mean? Does this mean I literally just bought Ratatouille for nothing?
Instead of saying like, I swear, they're like, Bible. And then they're like, oh,
What's Finn Wolfhard's dog's name? Her name was Rosie. She is dead.
Are you almost there?
No, don't care. We're not there yet.
Alexa, close the blind.
No, the drapes.
Doesn't understand your brain.
Alexa!
Alexa, close the blind.
The lighting's gonna be terrible. Alexa, stop!
I'm 11 now, bitch.
I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. There are a few clips I couldn't play for copyright reasons, so instead of playing them, I'm just going to explain them to you verbally, which I'm sure is an equal, if not better, way to experience them. A lot of the clips that I just played to you, as you may have noticed, have come from like the late night shows with Jimmy Fallon and James Corden. There was one bit where Finn, Gaten, Caleb, and Noah were all a part of a fictional Motown group called the Upside Downs. They did a little routine. The most popular part of said routine is where they go one by one and sing a little bit from the song I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. So how about I just like reenact it for you? This is Finn's part. When I had you to myself, I didn't want you around. And then this is Gaten. Those pretty faces always made you stand out in a crowd. I'm done. The same four people did a dance battle on Jimmy Fallon's show. Caleb and Gaten slayed it. Finn and Noah were present. Then these same four did one of the lip sync battles. You know, when celebrities do lip sync battles, the most famous one in my mind is the Tom Holland one, Umbrella. That will forever be just really a staple in pop culture history. There was actually one particular interview attached to the lip sync battle. I didn't know it was from the lip sync battle thing, but there was a YouTube video. I don't know if the original one is still up. It was originally titled Not Another Awkward Interview with Finn Wolfhard, and it used to be my favorite piece of media. It is like, it only is a couple of minutes. It is so good. Everything is so awkward. Finn is just a gem, and then at the very end, he runs off the screen so fast. He skedaddles. It was great. Then we have the iconic Millie Bobby Brown Stranger Things rap. I reference this all the time. I'm so glad I'm finally going to be able to introduce it to you right now so that when I do so, you'll know what I'm talking about. How about I just go ahead and perform the whole thing for you? Serenade you, if you will. Have you ever been serenaded by a man that you're not interested in? I'm hoping to channel that energy as well as the energy of like a family living room performance. POV, you're my parents, and I'm trying to convince you guys to let me have a sleepover with my cousin. I'm gonna be looking at the lyrics because I do not have this memorized. I know it's really unprofessional, but here we go. Let's go back to Indiana circa 1983, just for boys in the basement chillin', playing D&D. There was Lucas, there was Willie, Will, and Dustin. There was a Mike, but one night Will goes missing while he's riding on his bike. Yikes, that's when they met me, Alev. I had no hair on my head. I had been so close to dead, courtesy of Dr. Brenner, who's hunted me 24/7. Joyce was hanging Christmas lights in the web. Started hearing something Willie had said. This could be a message from the beyond. What happened to Barb? She's just gone in the upside down. Hopper's on top of the case. I'm throwing Vans into space. I'm lying down in a tank, trying my best to find Willie, and Dustin's got pudding for days. Demogorgon's getting all in my way. Blast him to pieces just like a grenade. Will's now at home coughing slugs in the sink. What happened to me? I'm in the the upside down. What about now? The saga continues. Tune in to see how. Upside down. What about now? The saga continues. Tune in to see how. All I need is my Eggo waffles. I'm in love with those. What I'm left with when I use my powers is a bloody nose. Bad news when you see that bloody nose. Hey, bad news when you see that bloody nose. Did you enjoy that? Now that you've experienced that, I think we can go a little bit deeper and dive into some TikTok trends. But I've been recording for a hot minute and I'm in need of a break. So I might just lie down for like a quick 20-second power nap. Don't worry, I set an alarm though, so it'll just be 1 second. I can't remember if TikTok had a major boom with season 3, but my god, things got out of hand when season 4 came out. So from what I can remember, let me describe a couple of the little jokes for you. So there was one where people either took videos of grandfather clocks or lack thereof to show, you know, that's when Vecna's right about to get you. So if there was a grandfather clock, you're fucked. And if there wasn't a grandfather clock, you're also fucked. I actually kind of forget what it was about. There was that trend where people were walking like in cosplay and then they started levitating because that's when Vecna got you. The scene where Joyce is trying to figure out whether or not Will was possessed in season 2 went viral. It's the one where he's like, your mom, hold him down. Will's hair throughout the seasons became a meme, particularly in season 4, because there's this one scene where Will was crying in the car. Like I said, I was referencing the proper full-on gay crisis, and he was turning his head to look out the window. This was most likely Mike's POV. The song Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush became incredibly popular, and I'm glad it did. It's a bop, but it was definitely overplayed. But the biggest thing to happen by far was probably the TikTokification of Eddie. Eddie's character was put through the fucking ringer. I'm honestly not even sure what happened. My guess is that Eddie was shoved down people's throats so much that people started to feel like his vibe or him as a character was tainted, which is unfortunate. I mean, usually having so many people love a character is what you would want, especially a newer character that is joining an already established and famous cast. A lot of people thought the cosplays were cringy, not even the cosplays themselves, but the way that people acted in cosplay. I saw so many Hellfire shirts that summer. Then of course, as you've heard a little snippet, we had the Chrissy Wake Up song. I just realized you never even got to hear the full thing, so I'm gonna sing it for you right now, of course. Is anyone else saying that, Clock? Anyways, Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up. Hey, hello. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Can you hear me? Wake up, Chrissy. I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up. I spent $1 on that bit. You better appreciate it. I think originally the scene where Eddie was telling Chrissy to wake up went viral, and then somehow it became a song. And I believe it became a song with the intention of it being like an alarm. Imagine you're in college and you are meeting your roommate who was a complete stranger, right? And they're like, oh, I have to wake up early. Is that okay with you? I'm just gonna set an alarm and I'll, be on my way. And then you're like, yeah, sure, do whatever. And then at 7 a.m., you hear the Chrissy Wake Up song. What would you do? I was living in a dorm, and on our section of the hallway, there were only girl rooms. And so we all shared this one bathroom that had 3 stalls and 2 showers. So it was basically like having a public restroom for your bathroom for, a good chunk of the year, which was not ideal. But anyway, when I was walking by the bathroom, sometimes if the door is open, you could just hear whatever's going on in there. And the door happened to be open, and I heard the song that she was listening to in the shower, which just so happened to be Mask by Dream. Should I have gone there and pooped in retaliation? Did I find the whole Eddie Munson thing to be a little cringy? Sure, but there are going to be cringy aspects of any fandom you're a part of. I mean, look literally anywhere in the My Hero Academia fandom. But sending excessive hate to any of these fans is just bonkers. It's also ironic considering the show is celebrating the outsiders and the outcasts, and so when you have these fans sort of celebrating a character who embodies that, and then they're getting bullied on the internet. It's like completely the opposite of the message we're trying to send here. Speaking of Chrissy though, she's played by actress Grace Van Dien, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I've been vaguely aware of her only because I didn't see her in anything prior to Stranger Things, but afterwards I would see some clips on TikTok of her, what I assumed was her Twitch streams where she would like game and stuff. But then recently I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw someone post a screenshot of a Twitter interaction between Grace and Johnny Gilbert, aka the guy who's been hanging out with Tara Yummy, aka that emo guy who's been, you know, on the internet scene for a while. I've made a video about him not too long ago. They were talking like they were dating, and I was like, that can't be right. Sure enough, it is. I thought it was fake. It is not. They hard launched their relationship very recently, and everybody was caught off guard. I was caught off guard because that's like two worlds colliding. Apparently, they met at this party, and the rest is history. But I have a mini tea to spill, lil slurp, if you will. I saw a TikTok again. Everything that I see is on TikTok, so just assume that in the first place. One of the Sterniolo triplets, I don't remember which one, was saying how it was weird when, you know, grown-ass people act like they're in a middle school relationship. Now, he didn't specify who he was talking about, but the internet went ahead and assumed he was talking about Grace and Johnny. Now, was he actually talking about them? Was he not? Who knows? I feel like even if you don't say who you're talking about, the internet will assume correctly. I've learned that the hard way for sure. But Johnny ended up seeing that, or so I would assume, because I don't know how long afterwards, but on one of his streams, I think he was like, so what if we act like we're in a middle school relationship? We're happy, like who the fuck cares? And you know what? I would have to say I'm Team Johnny on this one. I see where the Sterniolo was coming from a little bit. I will say, like, would I act like that in a relationship? Probably not. But if they're happy and healthy, who am I to hate on that? So that's an update in case you weren't aware. Other things that are really popular on TikTok are obviously edits of, you know, ships like Malevin, like Lumax, like Steady, but also edits of the individual characters, the show themselves. Particularly, there's one very famous Steve Harrington edit. It's pretty glorious. Love Steve. Nancy gets a lot of edits with her guns, sharpshooting queen. Steve is well known in the fandom, by the way, for being a single mother to like 6 children at least. And those 6 children being like the main children of the cast. Just because there are certain situations you've seen the show where Steve is, you know, kind of babysitting them all. We've got a lot of edits related to Vecna, who's portrayed by Jamie Campbell Bower, who is so hilarious. I love him. He is such a sassy king. Speaking of, you know, ship edits, you know what phenomenon? I don't think it's been that popular on TikTok, but it certainly was popular on like the YouTube and the Instagram scene back during season 1, season 2. Philly. Now that ship is a ship name between 2 real people, the actors, Finn Wolfhard and Millie Bobby Brown. And obviously that gets into very murky territory because even though it's a popular thing to ship actors, it's been frowned upon more recently and, you know, potentially rightfully so because you're shipping 2 real people with, you know, real lives and real relationships to one another. So, we've seen in the past actual relationships be affected by fans just overanalyzing every aspect of, you know, their interactions with each other, their personal lives, and that's a violation of privacy, so that's obviously uncool. I feel like Millie and Finn have always seemed to be on pretty good terms, so I don't think it's affected their relationship too much, but who's to say? But, you know, during the interviews and stuff, there would be edits and clips and montages of every interaction between them, whether it be a touch, a passing glance, you know, words. It really could have been anything. I know that there was this one really popular clip after Millie won an award for something. There was a shot of her walking on the stage, and in the back you could see Finn Wolfhard standing up and clapping for her, and everybody was like, oh my god, what does this mean? And another element on top of that was the fact that Finn wasn't even sitting with the Stranger Things cast at the time during that particular award ceremony. He was sitting with the cast of It, because if you didn't know, Finn was the shit back in like 2016, 2017, because he was a part of 2 really massive franchises, that being Stranger Things and It. It was like the movie based off of the Stephen King novel. But there was even some like tea and drama regarding that because fans were speculating which cast he liked to spend more of his time with. Like, was he favoring the It cast over the Stranger Things cast? I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't even know if he had a say in which group he was sitting with at that award ceremony. I'm not sure if you could put too much stock in that. But low-key, I also watched like pretty much every interview of the It cast. I don't know, I'm pretty sure their fandoms like overlapped. A, probably because the content of the show Stranger Things and the movie It is like a little similar. You got that spooky vibe. But B, because all of the actors, you know, in the Stranger Things cast and the It cast, the main ones, are around the same age. So probably there's like a little bit of a relatability factor there. And keep in mind, you want to know the craziest thing about it? I was watching all of these interviews and getting deep into the fandom without ever watching the show. I only started watching Stranger Things when season 3 came out, even though I already knew a lot of the lore based on the interviews and stuff that I've watched when season 1 and season 2 were coming out, because I was self-sheltering myself. I am a bit of a weenie when it comes to horror things. I still haven't seen the movie It to this day. Don't know if I ever will. You know, maybe I'll give it a try if it's in the right environment, if I am with a group of people, and it's preferably during the day. But anyway, back to Philly. I feel like the shipping rumors weren't helped by the fact that their characters were together on the show and were one of the most popular ships, and as a result of that, in pretty much every single interview they went to, all of the, you know, questions were like, oh my God, you guys kissed, how was it? And, you know, the first couple of times I understood it, but every single time after that, I was like, God damn, so they kissed. It did happen to be Millie's first kiss, and I believe Finn's first actual kiss as well, both on and off camera. But like, why are we questioning 12-year-olds what it's like to kiss each other? That's weird. The same thing happened with Sadie and Caleb when their characters had their first kiss. And actually, speaking of the on and off camera thing, back in the day, I watched an interview with Caleb and Ryan Seacrest, and Ryan was like, Caleb, how was that kiss of yours? And Caleb was like, oh yeah, it was cool. It was my first kiss both on and off screen. And when I heard that, I was like, no way did he just confirm that he and Sadie kissed off screen. That's crazy. And for the longest time, literally for years, up until yesterday when I rewatched the interview and I like let the words settle in my mind a little bit more, did I actually understand what he meant. Caleb meant that his and Sadie's first kiss was his first kiss in general, both on screen and in real life. I interpreted that to be, oh, he just confirmed he and Sadie are dating. Why is nobody talking about this? Yeah, I'm just dumb, turns out. There was even a little bit of controversy surrounding that particular kiss because they had to do that kiss over and over again, like a bunch of takes, because the shot was like a circular shot. The camera was like moving in a circular fashion around them. And so I think the issue was that Sadie kept going in for the kill too early. And so they had to keep on redoing it. But also the fact that the kiss wasn't originally in the script. It was kind of sprung upon them, so I've heard. And, you know, that potentially is a little bit iffy because, you know, you don't really have time to object to something like that if it happens so fast. Sadie herself did come out and say that she didn't feel uncomfortable or pressured to do the kiss, but there were, you know, some fans who felt like maybe the Duffer Brothers were questionable for that. But it doesn't seem like anybody was taking advantage of, so it seems. I mean, Sadie came out and said so herself, so I guess that's that. Hi guys, it's a new day because I got tired, but can I tell you why I'm pissed off? Because this morning I woke up to an email notification that my Dance Moms video got demonetized. Can I just say that I don't exactly know how fair use works, but I believe you can use copyrighted materials if, you know, you change it to an extent, if it's used in like commentary, if it's used in whatever the case may be. If the original content is altered enough for like creative purposes, then, you know, you're allowed to use it without getting permission from the owner, to my knowledge. I would argue that that's the case for my video, and I would argue that's the case for a lot of people's videos, and yet they still get demonetized because those stupid fucking greedy bitches want to it wasn't like flagged when the video was uploaded, which makes me think that, I don't know, someone went in there and like claimed it after the fact because it wasn't detectable when I initially uploaded to YouTube. I don't know if this is how this works. This is just my conjecture. I'm not reacting to the entirety of the Dance Moms episode. I put literally a 10-second clip in there. Be so for real right now. And it just seems so petty because if it was for the money, right? The video has already made the majority of the money that it's probably ever going to make unless it pops off like later on for some reason, which I hope it doesn't now, just to spite you. And I can't even trim the segments that it's in because I feel like it would mess up the entire thing, so I'm not going to. Enjoy my sloppy second pennies, bitch. So I think I want to move into a segment where I talk about tea regarding specific individuals on the Stranger Things cast. Let's start off with Joseph Quinn. Since Stranger Things, he's been in A Quiet Place Day 1. He's going to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe by playing the Human Torch. He is also set to be in The Gladiator 2. Now, let me tell you, there was some little funny drama involving him, Doja Cat, and Noah Schnapp. Basically, what happened is that Doja DM'd Noah on Instagram and she was like, hey, can you tell Joseph to hit me up? And Noah was encouraging her to slide into his DMs, and then he made a TikTok revealing that DM exchange. It was a private message, so clearly that's seen as a little bit uncool in general. And, you know, fans were going wild. And then Doja went on TikTok live and said that Noah's behavior was whack and that it's borderline snake shit. So when this all came out, the internet was pretty much on Noah's side. But I mean, I see where she's coming from. I would feel a little violated if my personal DMs simping for a man were leaked like that. With that being said, Doja has been public about her simping for Joseph. So, you know, I could see where Noah maybe got a little bit confused. He was young at the time and Doja acknowledged that. So people were also questioning, why is Doja in a child's DMs? But she wasn't after the child. She was after the child's co-star. With that being said, Joseph and Doja were recently seen together, so I guess it's been a long time coming. She finally secured that bag. Joe Keery has had a couple roles since Stranger Things, mainly Spree and Free Guy. He's also been focusing on his music. He goes by the name of Joe. But if you're on TikTok, you've probably heard a clip that went very viral relatively recently. It's from one of Joe's songs. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another visit. Maya Hawke has been making her mark on the Hollywood scene. She was in Asteroid City, which I didn't end up seeing. I wanted to, though. She was in Do Revenge, which was that like Netflix movie with the girl from Riverdale. She was also in, most notably, The Voice of Anxiety in Inside Out 2. She's also been making music. Caleb has been doing some movies, some modeling, I think. There was one time where he spoke out against the racism that he faced on Stranger Things with being the only person of color on the main cast, and he talked about how at an early Comic-Con some people weren't entering like his line, his cue to meet him because of his race. And then he asked his parents why he wasn't as popular as the rest of the cast, and they were like, well, buddy, it's because of the color of your skin. So he talked about how that was, you know, difficult to go through and navigate, especially growing up and being super young at the time. Gaten was in a band called Work in Progress with his siblings. He's also dating, and he has been for quite some time, this girl named Lizzie Yu, and because I was in the fandom and I knew this for some time, when she was announced as being cast for the role of Azula in the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender, I immediately clocked that. I immediately recognized her. I was like, oh my god, she's dating Gaten. Gaten also went on Broadway recently. He played a character in Sweeney Todd. I actually went to see him. That was super cool. Everybody on the cast killed it. It was really great. Sadie has been doing some modeling, some fashion things. She cut her hair recently, which is a slay. She's been killing it. She was in The Glass Castle, the Fear Street series, The Whale, and Taylor Swift's music video, All Too Well, the 10-minute version. That was crazy. She was cast alongside Dylan O'Brien. I thought it was an interesting choice because for me, I mean, the age gap was really evident, and I think that was part of the point. And to me, it was just crazy that someone near my age was cast as Dylan O'Brien's love interest. I mean, clearly there are favorites in this world. I'm not sure how close Millie and Sadie are currently, but I feel like back in the Stranger Things days, they were pretty close. There were a bunch of videos of them together, singing, dancing usually. They had this little mustard and ketchup bit. They also, I believe there was a video of them like singing a Frozen song together as a duet. If you have a sister, you probably have sang this song once. Someone was Elsa, someone was Anna. Charlie and Natalia are still dating to my knowledge. And you know what's really cute about Jancy is that every version of it, the people are dating. Like, Jonathan and Nancy are the fictional characters that are together on the show. The actors portraying them, Natalia and Charlie, are together, and their stunt doubles are together. Isn't that crazy? Charlie has a son, actually, not with Natalia, but with a past girlfriend of his, Akiko, and that whole thing was a little, like, very weird because she was in her 30s when she, I think, chose him to be a drummer in their band, and he was 19 at the time, and they started, you know, dating, getting together, and a year later, she was giving birth to their son. So clearly that age gap is very questionable. The whole thing is very icky, but I'm glad Charlie and Natalia are still together. They seem really cute. Now we've got Finn. Finn's been pretty successful. Like we've talked about, he's been in the movie It, he was in Ghostbusters, he was in The Goldfinch, and he voice acted in that animated show Carmen Sandiego. He was also in an animated version of The Addams Family. Like Gaten, he was in a band as well called Calpurnia. Dude, this is gonna sound so unhinged, but I'm just gonna expose myself. I remember being jealous of the bass player. She was like blonde. I believe she played the bass. She was in the band with Finn, and I remember being jealous of her because I was like, wow, she's pretty, she's extremely talented, and gets to be in a band with Finn Wolfhard. Like, what am I doing wrong? Finn is very much a film buff, I believe. He wants to direct, he wants to do all that good stuff. I remember when I had my Finn Wolfhard phase, I used to watch these vlogs that this guy named Quincy Fox, aka Billionaire Fox, on YouTube posted, and Finn was in a couple of the vlogs with his brother, Finn's brother. I think his name was Nick. I could be totally wrong about that. Finn's actually low-key involved with this niche section on the internet. Maybe it's because Finn was active on Vine, and so he was familiar with these different people. He, I believe, is a confirmed watcher of Sinjin Drowning. I also think he was friends with this guy named Josh, and Josh was Drew and Enya's roommate, and Drew and Enya of Emergency Intercom, so they all know each other, which is crazy. Everybody's connected. I do feel bad for Finn because there was some controversies regarding him being sexualized from a very young age. Like, there were lots of comments that a bunch of people made that were straight up just weird, questionable. There was one Comic-Con panel where the announcer was like introducing him or something, and he made an inappropriate comment about Finn's last name and how it would be a good name for something that rhymes with Warn Star. So weird, very weird, considering he was a child at the time. Also, musician Gracie Abrams made an Instagram story where she had just turned 18 at the time, and she posted something that was like, I'm still down bad for him, even though I know he's 14. She did apologize for that, but also that was a crazy thing to post. And then we get to Noah. He is arguably the most controversial figure on the cast, and that has happened very recently, which is such a shame because I feel about him similarly to the way I feel about James Charles. I'm like, wow, you guys are hilarious. You really could have had it all if you didn't have a questionable character. Noah goes to, or at least used to, the University of Pennsylvania. He was very active on the internet scene on TikTok. He posted a lot of TikToks. He also, low-key, was trying to become an influencer. He posted a lot of YouTube videos, some with his sister, some by himself, and then he did a bunch of collaborations with people like the Dolan Twins, Lily Singh, Summer Rae, Josh Peck, Charlie D'Amelio at one point. As for why the tides turned on him, after October 7th, Noah came out and posted, I think, something on Instagram showing his support for Israel, and for context, Noah's Jewish. And then the thing that really got everybody was when he was seen in a video that was posted, not by him, but by someone else, I think, and he was shown in like a cafe of sorts with other people. They were kind of like joking, laughing, hanging out. But what was on the table were a bunch of stickers, and people were holding up stickers that said things like Zionism is sexy and Hamas is ISIS. Yeah. And then Noah came out and made a TikTok apology. He didn't actually apologize. He was just like, hey, my thoughts and opinions are being very misconstrued on here. I just want everybody to come together, and stand in favor of peace or something like that. People were calling for Noah to be removed from the show, and they were also calling for a boycott of Stranger Things season 5 because of this. Obviously that didn't happen. I wonder what the thoughts and feels of the rest of the cast members are. I know he and Millie used to be super close. I don't know if that's still the case. There was actually one point where people thought Noah was like knee deep in the friend zone and was like fighting for Millie's affection, but I think that was before Noah came out as gay. There was actually a clip of Millie on the Jimmy Fallon late night show. They were all playing a Family Feud style game, and she accidentally potentially outed Noah, but nobody noticed at the time. I love Millie though. She's had so many iconic moments. She's seen a lot of success after Stranger Things. She's been on Godzilla, Damsel, a Maroon 5 music video, other music videos, and Enola Holmes. On that note, speaking of Enola Holmes, there's actually one of my favorite videos ever was when she was on an Instagram live with her co-star Louis Partridge, who is also now Olivia Rodrigo's boyfriend. And they were talking, and I'm just gonna roll the clip. It's hilarious.
I have a question over my face. It just says, "Is Louis single?" over my face, and I would quite like to get rid of it. I don't know how to do it.
Really?
Yes, I don't like this question.
Oh my gosh, I don't see that. I'm so sorry.
I hate this question.
I'm so sorry.
How do I get rid? Oh, no.
That...
Whoa.
I'm so sorry. Okay, everyone. I don't know. You may say I'm a dreamer.
Millie has done her own fair share of Instagram lives. Or just lives in general, I believe is on Instagram. I don't really remember, but she used to do them a lot with her sister. Those were such gems. She has 3 siblings. She has a brother named Charlie, which is funny because that would make him Charlie Brown. There is speculation about Millie's relationship with her family, although I've seen recent interviews and she talks very highly of her mom, so they must be close. But the reason being is that she made a statement when she was on one of the late night shows, and she was like, yeah, my family doesn't even know that I'm like here in New York on the show. It doesn't seem like they really care or are all that interested in the whole fame life. Also, people are saying that there was sort of potentially a lack of protection and just keeping an eye out for Millie from her parents. They didn't seem to be too involved in that arena, and they, she got into some dangerous situations that we'll get to in a second, and that maybe could have been avoided if there was more of an intervention through her parents. And so the questionable things, I feel like, revolve a lot around being around older men and potentially being taken advantage by them. There is the whole Drake thing that's been, discussed really recently with the whole Kendrick Lamar beef, and essentially what is confirmed to have happened is that Drake was kind of pushing to be close with Millie, which is weird because he was obviously a guy in his 30s and this is a child we're talking about, but he would used to, text her with life advice and boy advice. Bitch, get away from her. Why? She does not need your boy advice. I can assure you. But also, there was this stupid fucking bitch of a guy. His name was Hunter Echo. I don't even know what he does. He's not relevant. But he and Millie dated for some time. It wasn't that big of a deal, obviously, because he was a nobody. But he went on TikTok live or some sort of live, and the comments he made were so disgusting. And keep in mind, he was proudly divulging information about he and Millie's sex life while his sister was there. They started dating when he was 20 and she was 16, which, first of all, what do you mean? On the live, he did say that he groomed her. Was he potentially being sarcastic? Yeah, but you might be onto something there, buddy. I don't know. Someone, I think it might have been his sister, was like, she made a joke when one of the comments in the live talked about Millie being a child, and she was like, yeah, she's a child who knows how to suck dick. And he laughed and repeated that sentiment and went even further to talk about stuff they did. It was just so, disgusting. How could you have no shame in doing that? And this guy even said that he lived at Millie's house for 8 months and her parents knew about it, and because her parents knew about it and because it was legal, then he didn't do anything wrong. I feel like if you're a parent, first of all, you'd probably want to keep your child as far away from Hollywood or anything close to that as possible. But if for whatever reason you decide that your child decides that that's what they really want to do, you have to be so extremely vigilant. You need to be by their side, because the amount of times that children have been taken advantage of in Hollywood, it's literally too many to count. It happens so often. We see it time and time again with quite literally every single child that becomes famous in Hollywood. I mean, now people are talking about and discussing the whole P. Diddy thing and how, Justin Bieber might have been taken advantage of, which obviously he was taken advantage of. Could you not see the signs? Like, they've been around for forever. Sorry, I don't know why I'm ranting so much today. It might be because I woke up to the copyright claim. So you know what? We're going to pivot. Do you remember the friendship between Millie, Lilia, and Maddie Ziegler, and a little bit later Grace Vanderwaal? Wasn't that a crazy time to be alive? I remember their friendship so vividly. I remember thinking, wow, that would be a cool thing to be a part of. Apparently people are speculating that it was like arranged by management. It was sort of a publicity thing, but who knows, right? Currently, thank God, Millie seems to be in a much better place. She seems to be happy, healthy, thriving well, and I would only wish that and more for her. She, I believe, is married. They were previously engaged, but I think they're straight up married now to John Bon Jovi's son, Jake Bon Jovi. And they are so cute. I love watching videos of them. He seems like a super cool guy. She also previously dated Jacob Sartorius, which was crazy. The internet freaked out when she revealed that on Instagram. I remember the exact picture, and I remember the feeling that I felt, and it was quite crazy. But yeah, Millie has truly had it rough. She has been in the public eye for quite some time. There was also, she kind of distanced herself from the internet a bit because of the bullying that she'd faced. There was a really popular joke that was going around. This is more recently, so I'm not sure if this was before or after she deleted Twitter and deleted all of that, but there's a joke that she's extremely homophobic, which obviously that's not the case, and that's why it's a joke. It's because she's like such a sweet human being. She was frequently called obnoxious and annoying in interviews, especially during seasons 1 and 2, because, she was really loud and excited and sometimes would talk over people and stuff like that, and she seemed like she, really relished the spotlight. But I mean, I feel like that's such a mean thing to rag on a kid for, being as excited during an interview when your show takes off. Like, come on. But like I said, she seems to be really thriving right now, which I'm so glad about. I remember really recently when she I feel like she emerged again, and had a sort of new look. She had a more sophisticated, mature look, and people were saying how she looked like she was 40 years old, and someone needed to hire a better stylist, and they were saying, well, is it the style? Did she maybe get work done? I don't really know. I literally have no idea when it comes to people getting work done, because I feel like they either just straight up don't acknowledge it or lie about it. Like, a lot of the time, I feel like there are very few people who are transparent about it. I'm never going to judge someone for getting work done, but I am going to judge you for hiding it and lying about it. But who knows? Maybe that's just her skin is on fleek because she owns this beauty line called Florence by Millie. I actually purchased something from Florence by Millie back in the day, the little whales that go under your eyes. They were cool. There is this really interesting, hilarious clip where she is promoting her makeup, and for whatever reason, she is applying the products from this tube, and the tube appears to be empty. So it's like she's just rubbing her face with absolutely nothing on it, with water. And people were like, why why did the tubes appear to be empty? Her skin still looks amazing though to this day. Anyway, I think that is literally everything about the Stranger Things fandom that I could pull from the recesses of my memory. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know if there is anything else that I need to cover. Let me know what your thoughts are on Stranger Things. One thing that I actually did forget to mention, something that happens in, I feel like, a lot of fandoms, is people shipping characters together that should not be shipped, like adults and minors. That should go without saying that is weird. What on earth? But, I feel like a lot of the things that happens in the Stranger Things fandom isn't particular to the Stranger Things fandom. It just happens everywhere, and it happens more frequently in this fandom just because it's an extremely popular show. So the more people there are, the more crazy it's going to be. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having a good day. Thank you for coming on this journey with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.